Hey, how y'all doing today? You might remember that in a previous video, in the comment section of a previous video, I included a few red flag statements that people might make when you're dating them that may give you pause, that may make you want to pump the brakes, or at least take a little bit of time to stop, look, and listen a bit more carefully before you cross the street into a relationship with them. I included those statements in the comments, and I invited you all to give me some examples of red flag statements that you've heard, or maybe even that you've used, that people should take care of when they hear them. And you all delivered, so thank you for that. One special viewer asked me to talk about what it means when someone compares everything you do to the way their mother did it. Like, my mother always added sauce to this recipe, or this is the particular way that my mom used to make the beds. I want to expand this topic a little bit to include anyone who would have the unmitigated gall to compare you and your habits, your recipes, your particular skills to their mothers, their fathers, any one of their legal guardians, to an ex, or to someone that they used to date, or somebody that they might have dated casually, or anybody with whom they feel your skills or your way of doing things are not up to par. Now, there could be any number of reasons why a person would behave this way. I don't claim to have all the answers, and I'm still learning just like you. But in my personal experience, there are generally two reasons why people engage in comparison behavior like this. One reason is when that person is trying to manipulate you by making you feel insecure and making you feel as though you're in competition with other people. The second reason could be that maybe they're just, a little bit lacking in relationship skills to some extent. They're operating from a little bit of immaturity, and they just, maybe they lack some communication skills, and they really don't know how to persuade or inspire you to do things in the way that they like them without, pulling for the low-hanging fruit of comparison. When someone is choosing to behave this way, it seems to me that in that moment, they're not really thinking about how this makes you feel or what the long-term impact is going to be on the relationship. They're just thinking in the moment about what they want and how they want it done. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with having wants or needs, or having, particular ways that you like things to be done. But they're in that moment not thinking about how that might potentially make you feel inadequate, or how it could create a rift between you and the people that they're comparing you to, or how, if they go behind your back and have conversations with those people, how that can create fissures within your relationship by poisoning other people's minds and influencing their opinion of you in a negative way. Now, of course, everything in our relationship doesn't hinge upon the opinions of others. In a healthy relationship, other people's opinions aren't going to make or break the bond that you two share. But in a world where there are already so many things stacked against people who are trying to have a healthy and productive, progressive relationship, why give other people ammo? Comparison is an open door for infiltration that keeps your focus outside of the relationship and creates a weakness that gives other people the opportunity to slide in. When someone is comparing you to another person, they are simply not accepting you as you are. And that may not necessarily be a bad thing. Growth is great, right? We all want to we should want to grow together with our partners, and none of us are perfect. There are things that we all could still learn, and examples that we could take from other people. Now, sometimes people are just stuck in their ways, and they choose to remain stagnant and nostalgic in thinking about the way someone else used to do things, instead of choosing to grow in the relationship with you and learning how you do things and learning to appreciate your particular way of doing things. How was that what you like? Is that where you'd rather be? How come you're not at mom's right now eating all of her wonderful sauces? Oh, because I provide a sauce that mommy can't give? Okay. Now, I'm not telling you to just immediately go for the snarky response, okay? There is a way to handle these situations without automatically jumping to the nuclear option, so just hear me out. Sometimes people think that you are actually very good at what you do, and they may be jealous or resentful of your level of competence. And so they compare you to other people in order to plant seeds of insecurity in your mind. Sometimes it's just ignorance. And either way, there is, I think, a better way to handle it without getting yourself all upset, and while still maintaining your confidence in your ability to do things well and to learn and grow and figure out how to do it even better if you choose. One thing you need to be certain of is to be very quick about giving a very distinct response the first time somebody compares you to someone else, so that you can set the tone for the entire relationship. Because if you keep letting it slide, you're just gonna keep sliding down that slippery slope. I'm gonna give you two examples from my personal life that relate to cooking and the men that I've been in relationships with in the past. Now, I actually am someone who really enjoys cooking. I like experimenting with different recipes. I like doing, trying worldwide cuisine. I actually also really enjoy gardening. So a lot of times I like to grow herbs and spices out back, and I'll bring, and I actually grow some greens too. So I'll bring some of those in from the garden and I'll include those in some of my recipes. Basically, I really like to experiment. So I'm open to learning in the kitchen, right? I consider myself to be an okay cook, okay? I'm not pro level or anything like that, but I will say that my family has put me in charge of Thanksgiving dinner for several years now, and I am actually going to be the hostess for this year's Christmas dinner, so I ain't no slouch. I remember two experiences in particular where a guy that I was with compared my cooking to his parents. One day, I was making some pancakes, and I was using my mom's old school recipe, okay? My mother's old school recipe that her mom taught her, right? This is a recipe that has fed and satisfied generations. Nice, fluffy, buttery pancakes made my mama's way. That was what I was making in the kitchen. And I'm proud of it, I'm happy about it. And now that I look back on it, I think that me and that guy were going through a little period during that time where he might have been upset with me about something else. He might have been trying to throw me off my square, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt right now and say that maybe he was just, feeling nostalgic about his own mom's pancakes. Now, because he did not like the way that I made these pancakes, he saw fit to respond by giving his mother a call and asking her to tell me her pancake recipe. Well, I politely declined his offer, and I very politely got on the phone and told his mother that I had already made the pancakes and I would not be needing her recipe. Now, thankfully, his mother was the kind of woman who was not interested in being put in the middle of our petty arguments, and she understood that it would be toxic for her to just be dipping and dabbing in our relationship every time he decided to call her up to give me the what for about something like this. The second time that somebody did this to me, and I don't know what it is about dudes jumping on the phone and thinking that's going to intimidate you because they got mama or a parent or somebody on the phone all of a sudden, like that's just going to get you flustered and make you want to, get in line. It didn't work that first time, and it didn't work the second time when somebody else tried to do it, because the second time I was, getting ready to cook dinner. I'm getting ready to cook steak. This was the first time that I had actually cooked steak in this relationship with this particular guy, right? So I'm preparing the meal. We're talking, I think we had maybe discussed some of the ingredients that we were going to include and different things like that. And because his guardian had been a professional chef for years, he decided that he was going to get all excited and hop on the phone and call his guardian and ask him to tell me how to cook the steak just the way he liked it. Now, he's so gung-ho about doing this that he doesn't even stop to look at my facial expressions, to see how I'm responding and how my body language is tightening up as he's preparing to make this phone call. He gets his guardian on the phone, and I don't know how, at some point, I made it very clear to him via facial expression. I don't think that I said much because I didn't want to be, hoopering and hollering in the background, because I like to keep my cool. I don't like to let people throw me off my square much. He made that phone call, but he quickly ended it. And somehow I was able to get my point across to him without having to say anything to the person on the phone. I paused, sat back comfortably in my chair, and quietly said to him, "Don't ever again in your life." Now, you know that somebody is really getting ready to give you the what for when they have to lower their voice and lower their chin and talk to you out of the side of their head. That's a technique that I learned as a mom, and it works very well because it makes it very clear the level of your seething anger to the person that you're talking to without you having to go crazy. Don't ever again in your life call your mama, your daddy, or whoever raised you and ask them to tell me how to cook a meal in my kitchen. Because if that's how you like it, you can go over there to their house and eat it like that. But I don't see you going over there. I see you sitting at my table cleaning your plate every time I make a meal. And I have to say that was one of many red flags that I saw at the beginning of that relationship. Turned out to be a very toxic connection and brought a bit of toxicity out of me ultimately. So yeah, that was one that didn't last very long. But the whole comparison thing, it wasn't just about what went on in the kitchen. It bled into a lot of other areas because he was the kind of person who used comparison and competition to pit people against one another because he was a very insecure person himself. Now, the thing is, like I told y'all, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy experimenting. I enjoy learning new things. I would have been totally open and okay with learning new recipes and new ways of doing things just to add it to my repertoire. But because of the way that they acted, I responded in kind. They were totally rude and inconsiderate. So, when I deal with people like that, I'll shut down the kitchen. I'll shut down the whole relationship, because you're not going to be rude and inconsiderate like that. Now, if I was in a better mood and really willing to work through it, I could have told both of them something like this. Look, if that's how you like it and that's how you would rather eat it, I want you to dedicate yourself to learning that recipe inside and out. And then come and teach me. Let's learn together. You become the expert so that you can have that thing, that steak, those pancakes, however you want them, whenever you want them. And if you can teach me in a way that's considerate, I'll be happy to learn. Everybody has their own style, their own flavor, their own touch to doing things. And we can learn together, but let's do it together. And let's do it in a way that we don't have to be constantly dragging other people into the equation. Because the problem is that comparison sets an impossible standard. Everybody's different. We don't do things in the exact same way. And so it puts the person who is, trying to learn the new way of doing things in a position where they are constantly chasing this impossible standard, because they're not going to be that other person. They're not going to be your mom or your dad or your ex or whoever this person is that you're comparing them to. And for some people, that's how they like it. They want to keep you in a state of constantly chasing some impossible goal. People who have very particular palates and discriminating tastes need to develop very particular skills to create the things that they like the way that they like them, so that they can have what they want and lovingly teach someone else how to create it with them. Now, I know that's what a lot of you girlies out there try to do with your guys, right? Especially when it comes to, the bedroom things. We try to teach our men what we like. And I know some of them don't like to listen, but you have to lovingly teach, right? We're used to lovingly teaching these kinds of things. Now, some of you aren't teaching. You're just keeping your mouth shut and dreaming about the way the other guy used to do it. You know that ain't right. You have to speak up, and there is a classy way, a confident way, a loving way to do that, so that you inspire the other person to want to learn. You finesse them into it. You don't create an argument, you don't bark, you don't complain, you don't stomp around and pout, you don't compare them to other people. You find a way to teach, to communicate in a healthy adult way. Now, I'm gonna tell you real quick about a time that I did, I was guilty of comparing a guy to someone else, but it was only because he asked for it, right? I was dating this guy and we would have problems, problems up the wazoo, right? And he just got frustrated during an argument one time and said to me, Joy, you gave that other guy so much time and so many chances. Why won't you just give me the same chances you gave him? You want the same chances I gave him? That immediately set me off. And that was close to the end of that relationship. When he made that statement, I had already known, but this just reinforced my understanding that we were at the end of this relationship, because there's no way that anybody who truly cares about me is going to want me to put up with all of this same kind of stuff a second time around, the same way that I did with the other guy. But by this point I was pissed off, and I figured, hey, why not entertain myself and him? So I said, well, if you want me to treat you the way that I treated the other guy, if you want me to give you the same chances and the same time to get your stuff together the same way that I did the other guy, I'm gonna need you to do some of the things that he did. All right? I'm gonna need you to get and keep a really good job that would provide the kind of income and benefits that he was able to provide for a period of time. I'm gonna need you to get a really nice home and bring your mother to that home and take care of her because she's not well. I'm gonna need you to stop complaining and be a better employee at your job so that you can actually climb the ladder and get some leadership skills and become a leader in your own right. I'm gonna need you to get a better car. I'm gonna need you to put a little bit more money in my account. You might wanna think about cleaning up your records so that you can get a couple of weapons to protect this house when you're here. I'm gonna need you to grow up and at least get to the point where you can meet the standard that he set. And then I'm gonna need you to exceed that, because clearly he fell off, right? So if you want me to treat you the way I treated the other guy, I'm gonna need you to stop whining and be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more mature. Is this a game you wanna play? You wanna keep going? You wanna keep comparing? Because I could name a few more things. That's not the kind of woman I wanna be, y'all. So I stepped away from that relationship and I chose to either live out, a good amount of my time happily, peacefully, blissfully, and undistractedly single until and unless I meet someone who can meet me at or above the standard, right? Because comparison is just a dirty game, whether you're doing it, because someone asked you to, or whether you're just ignorant and, thinking about yourself in the moment, or, if you're trying to manipulate somebody into feeling like crap. If you really want to build a healthy and strong relationship that is mutually satisfying and beneficial for you and your partner, and for all of the other people who are affected by that relationship, then you need to put on your thinking cap and come up with a way to inspire your partner to try new things. Because comparison will have you right back out in the street searching for the people who used to do things the way that you want them done. Okay, you know what? Call your people. Where they at? What's your mama number, your daddy number? Where they at? You want me to call them? Because I am out. This is Inanna Joy, sharing a few of the things that I've learned and some things that I'm still learning with you. Thanks for jumping in the joy well with me, where we examine what it means to grow and to live and love through life's joy, pain, sunshine, or rain. In the joy well, you will follow your bliss to your purpose. You will align with your joy and live well. See you soon.